So we are very inclusive. We've had players from all over the world. Recently, I posted up that we did a shoe drive for one of our players, Ram, who's from Liberia. So we're going to donate shoes to him. We're shipping them off next week. But we've had players from Central America, South America, Asia, Africa, European. And so it's just been a really beautiful thing to be able to work with all these players from all around the world. And Sacramento is very diverse. There's all types of players that are in the area that are very talented. And typically, we work with a lot of families that are immigrants or first generation. And so economically, they typically are not as established as people who were born in America or third, fourth generation, right?
Right.
So a lot of what I do is I try to educate them on what scholarships are available specific to their situation. There are specific scholarships for kids who are heritage of Mexico, Central America, African American. So I look for scholarships that they would be eligible for, and then I encourage them to apply. I remind them when deadlines are. I will go to people's houses and sit with them and help them fill it out if they have questions.
Yeah.
We do annually, we typically do a meeting where I invite guest speakers and we have different topics ranging from like, what do you want to study in post-secondary education in college? What actually generates the most money? It's not every degree is the same. And a lot of people don't understand that. Also, the pathway doesn't have to be straight to a 4-year program. I encourage a lot of kids to go through the junior college program. I graduated from Sac City and transferred to UC Davis via the TAG program, which is really great. And so I explain to families that there are a lot of ways here in California you can earn a great education and build your career and build a life for yourself, and just helping teach them that it's available and there are opportunities is a big thing that I work on. And also teaching them that athletic scholarships are a small portion of what you will receive for financial aid in college. A lot of soccer coaches don't understand that, and then they don't tell the parents, or none of them really understand that you might get a $5,000 scholarship per semester, but your tuition could be 30 to 40,000. And so to teach them that really your academics are actually what are going to pay for your college tuition, and specialty scholarships. For example, I teach them that there are specific institutions that are deemed Hispanic serving institutions, HSI. And that means that their population is serving at least 25% who identify as Latino or Hispanic. If they are a designated HSI by the US government, they will receive millions of dollars that are designated for those students. And you can apply for those scholarships. And so knowing what the HSI list is, especially if you're a resident of California, is very important. And so I teach them like, okay, you want to go play soccer. What institutions are HSI? You're Mexican American or you're Chicano. Okay, great. Let's look towards those institutions. Do I know the coach there? Do you have the skill set to play on that team? What are your academics? What are your grades? Sitting there and being like, what do you want to study? You want to do engineering? You want to do construction? You want to do psychology? You want to do pre-med? Okay, let's look at their program.
Right.
And then let's look at, how many seniors are graduating from that soccer team? Do they even have room on their roster to add more players in your position? You're a goalkeeper. They already have 6 goalkeepers. We're not sending you there. There's no point.
No.
Right. And then, like I reach out to coaches, be like, hey, are you looking for any specific positions? So then you have to align the player with, this is their skill set as a player. This is their skill set academically. You don't want to send a kid to a top tier institution academically if they're really struggling to keep a 2.1. They will literally bounce back. And I had that happen when I first started coaching. I'd send a kid and I'm like, great, we got them into college. They bounce back after a semester because they honestly were not academically prepared. And so what I've learned is we do grade checks now. So during the year, I'm looking at monthly, which kids will even turn their grades in. A lot of them kind of are resistant to even show me what they're doing in school. And they get scared to tell me. I'm like, no, we just need to like be aware, because when they fail at the end of the semester and no one knew that they were doing that poorly until December or until June, and then they're taking summer classes because they straight failed their math or English because no one ever found out till the very, very end. And now they failed, and now it's an F on the transcript, and now they have to maybe make it up. But a lot of these kids work in the summer. High school boys and college men work in the summer. They work 1 to 2 jobs to pay bills.
Right.
How do we catch those kids early and be like, great, you need tutoring 4 nights a week, period, end of story. You might be going to tutoring instead of practice. That's just how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Or we need to find a tutor that will meet with you when you can. How do we get you the correct tutoring? You're not dumb. You just need tutoring. And I tell a lot of them, like, I failed classes in college I had to retake. I didn't have the right tutoring. I needed tutoring 5 days a week for my math. Simple. It is what it is. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And unfortunately, culturally, a lot of these young boys and men feel bad asking for help. They're like, oh, I got it. and then they don't have it, and then they fail, and then they're not academically eligible, and then they drop out. That's what usually happens, unfortunately.
Right.
They just drop out, and they're like, no, Rose, I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to work full time. I got a good job, making 20, 25 an hour.
Right.
And I'm like, but you're not seeing the big picture when you're 40, and you can't keep doing roofing forever.
Yeah.
You don't want to be installing linoleum when you're 45.
60.
How do I? Yeah, really though. And so, and then I try to explain to them, I'm like, I don't think it's a bad thing for you to make that type of money per hour, but how do we take your talent and that you're intelligent, and let's do this for the next 4 years. Let's try to get you some type of degree that you can succeed in so that you can make yourself marketable to the American economy. Plus, I always tell them, you're bilingual, a majority of them. Some of them are trilingual. And I was like, the fact that you are bilingual or trilingual and you speak multiple languages, you will compete in the job market.
Yeah.
Let me teach you how to use your talent, your language skill set, your drive, your determination, your fortitude. Let's get you a real scholarship so that you don't have to be in debt when you graduate. We don't want to take you out of a bad financial situation where you grew up and then put you $100,000 in debt. Yeah, exactly. Then it's like we take you out of one pot and into the fire, and that's not good either.
No.
And so when a lot of families see that price, to go to a 4-year institution is $20,000 to $40,000 a year, and they're like, well, we don't have that type of money. Because realistically, to do housing, food, books, parking pass, insurance, a lot of kids don't have insurance, and the school puts them on insurance, and that can be $1,000 a year that a lot of people don't think about. So to be on health insurance with an institution, if you don't have your own health insurance, they will make you go on theirs. There's another $1,000 a year. They're not covering it. You have to figure it out if you don't have health insurance. Those are real things. Those are real expenses that happen. And so how do we figure out a situation where we can apply for other scholarships? What things could you be eligible for? There's an organization called HACU, H-A-C-U, Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. And they have many rolling scholarships. They partner with Southwest Airlines, Wells Fargo, multiple other organizations, and they have rolling scholarships available year round, but you have to send in the essay and you have to apply, and you have to do it on time.
A lot of them don't know about that, right? A lot of them don't know,
they don't even know they exist, number one. Number two, that they're actually eligible, that they do hit the criteria. And number three, that it's free money. Take the $4,000 scholarship, take the $5,000 scholarship. That can pay for your insurance, your books, parking pass, maybe some of your food while you're in college. That stuff counts. And the fact that a lot of people don't recognize that as a student athlete, your scholarship gets renewed annually. That means every year, the coach decides if he gives you scholarship money.
You're going to bring you back, yeah.
Yeah, just because you sign a national letter of intent does not mean you have a scholarship for 4 years. It means you get 1 year, that academic year. And if you fall behind as a student athlete academically, or you don't perform as an athlete and don't hit their standards, they can release you. And now you're kind of like, well, what do I do? And so preparing kids for that, meaning like you have to bring something to the table every single year. You have to. You need to be a top performer in fitness, technical ability, tactical ability. You need to be upstanding in practices. You should not be messing around doing stuff on the weekends or breaks that would jeopardize your scholarship. They will cut you. They have that right to take away your scholarship money. And then teaching them, like, how do we